Report.
Everything's status quo, sir.
Very well. If anyone needs me, I'll be in my ready room.
Welcome to the Readier Room, the only and longest-running Star Trek The Next Generation rewatch podcast. Every week, we're recapping an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation and bringing you stories from the set of Star Trek The Next Generation, told to you by people who worked on Star Trek The Next Generation. My name is Mitchell Mells, Chief Consultant Services at Paramount, and with me is my life partner, Brandon Hobbs. Brandon, how are we doing today?
Mitch, I gotta say it feels weird moving into Season 3 without any break. We're working hard.
We considered, maybe you considered having a break, and I put the kibosh on that very quickly. Look, I get it. We have ensigns we need to provide for, so it's true.
Here we are, Season 3.
Yeah, I looked into it. The on Patreon, most people have it set that they only pay when the episode goes up, rather than monthly. So
yes,
it was never really an option.
Mm-hmm.
To take a break, especially with Christmas coming up, we need the extra money to grease our wheels on buying presents.
Yeah, mostly for ourselves, of course.
Right. I leave the other people's gifts to Santa, and my gifts to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that kind of takes the load off Santa a little bit, which I think is very, very helpful.
He
very
appreciates
generous.
it. Have you ever given Santa Claus a plate of cookies?
Yes, quite a few times actually. Sometimes he doesn't eat them.
Yeah, that's weird. The only time that Santa has eaten my cookies has been when I've had company over. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's just more attracted to houses with larger numbers of people. But
yeah, maybe he thinks they've been taste tested.
Right. Well, so here's the thing. Back in the old days, medieval times, the king would have a royal taster to ensure that his food had not been poisoned. And perhaps Santa operates under similar logic.
Yeah, I mean, why doesn't he just bring a little elf slave to taste the cookies for him?
In all of the world, that's probably a lot of cookies. You would need more than one elf. And at that point,
you don't think they could handle it?
Well, let's say there's 7-8 billion people on the planet. Let's be conservative and say a quarter to a third of that celebrates Christmas. So that's 2.5 billion people. And if there's about average, let's say 4 people per household, that's 200 million houses. And in those 200 million houses, let's say that, I don't know, what percentage would leave out milk? 40%?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And what's a fifth of 240? So it's 80 million houses.
And there's obviously several cookies at once.
Exactly. So if there's 80 million houses but have 2 cookies, or maybe 3 cookies, that's 240 million cookies. That's a lot for even a handful of elves.
Wait, it's not a lot for Santa.
Well, Santa's fucking fat.
I mean, I think even the fattest man would get sick of cookies after the 12th house or so.
I think you're
Maybe that's why.
I think you're being optimistic.
Yeah, I probably am.
So I can see why Santa would outsource some of the royal tasting to houses with a lot of guests in them.
Maybe we should start leaving out pretzels for Santa.
Ooh, salted or unsalted?
Salted, of course.
Okay, and are they twisted or just those stick pretzels?
They're the nastiest pretzels you can think of.
Ooh, so store-bought, a bunch in a plastic
just
bag?
Hard. Yeah.
We could leave out goldfish pretzels for him.
Yeah, we could do that. Mix it up a little.
Yeah, you never know. I'm into everything that's happening here.
Yeah. Well, we have about a week to think about it.
That's true. We're recording this on the 18th, which is a week away from Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very thrilled. I'm very readier. And I hope that Santa's readier too.
That's right, Mitch.
If you know what I mean. So that's gonna, I guess, bring us to the question of the week. I don't know. Is this question?
I guess it will.
Is this question of the week from Santa Claus? Do you think?
I sure hope so.
No. A little preview. I saved his question for next week. He'll have something to look forward to on his journey. You know how everybody kind of listens to podcasts on their way to work?
Yeah.
I like to think the same of Santa.
So Santa must listen to a lot of podcasts on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. I mean,
he's been saving them all up.
All year?
Mm-hmm.
If you could only listen to one podcast, because you've been saving it up all year, what would you listen to? This isn't the question of the week. I just want to know.
If I'm saving it up all year, God, I don't even like podcasts. Cometown.
Let's see. I would find a good woodworking podcast.
Yeah.
You like woodworking, son?
Yeah, but I feel like you need to like watch that kind of stuff.
Watch woodworking?
Yeah.
Wood watchworking?
Who watches the wood watch workers?
Ooh. How much wood would a wood watch if a wood watch could watch wood?
It's a question for the ages, Mitch.
Indeed. But, I see what you mean. Perhaps a video podcast would be better suited for that. I don't know. I just like the sounds of scraping wood. You ever see them get
really nice.
the scraper where they got to file it down just a little bit?
Oh yeah. No, I'm intimately familiar with the sounds and smells of woodworking.
Indeed. Smells mostly like wood, with a little bit of work.
Yeah, but it's when you saw it off and you got some of that that sand,
sawdust.
The smell kind of wafts.
Yes.
Through.
What I really like is the customary blow after there's like a lot of sawdust there, or like,
mm-hmm.
and it goes flying.
Yep.
Yeah. Now it's great that wearing masks has been as normalized as it is, because not wearing a mask while woodworking is just asking for wood lung, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be careful for that.
Yeah, you do. Certainly.
Anyway, I'm procrastinating. I don't know why I haven't gotten to the question of the week yet. You'll have to forgive me. Audience will have to forgive me. Because this week's question of the week comes from a loyal fan, Kevin Backus in New York, who asks, "Hello, Admirals. Here's a question. When characters in TNG say things like, impact in 15 seconds. He just wrote it in normal text, but I imagine that's how he wanted me to say that.
Yeah, like Worf-like.
Yes, exactly. How is the timing done on set? Surely when the writers write that line, he has no idea how long it will take the actors to say it. Anyways, thank you for every podcast that you make, Kevin." So, that's kind of an extremely specific question that I certainly didn't think about. I don't think anybody thought about that.
Mm-hmm. No,
because if Kevin took the time to research this, you'd find that any scene with lines like that, it does not match up at all. If they say, if there's an explosion in 5 seconds, 7-10 seconds will go by, no problem. The timing's usually off by a factor of 2.
Yeah.
No one really cared about that. It's television. It's not real life.
Which may come as a surprise, I think, to a lot of ensigns, especially if you're new. Yeah, Star Trek is fiction.
Yeah, let's get that out on the table first of all. But it's important to know that any society that's this peaceful, that's just fake to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the sense of time,
especially with the demographics of the ship.
Yeah. There's no way that, I was gonna say
statistically speaking.
I was gonna say a Chinaman, but there are no Chinamen.
There are no Chinamen.
This is true. That's you got to go back to TOS for that.
Mm-hmm.
The old series.
Yes. as it is called.
Yes, indeedy. So, I don't know. I appreciate the obsessive fan bullshit question, but at the very least, you could attempt to educate yourself next time, my man.
Get it together.
Get it together.
Clean your room.
Slay the dragon.
You know, touch some grass.
Touch some dragons.
Imagine dragons.
What do you want me to imagine them doing?
That's not for polite conversation, Mitch.
Oh no. Well, if you're like Kevin and you don't want to do any research about anything and you just kind of want us to educate you for free, then send us an email at thereadier.room@gmail.com with several capital R's. And if that's not good enough for you, you can tweet at us at Readier Room on Twitter.com. And we'll probably answer your question no matter what it is at this point. Let's be real. We don't have any standards anymore.
We're getting desperate.
Indeed. And desperate times call for bad questions.
That's right.
That's right, Mitch.
Yeah, that is right, Mitch.
Thank you. I was feeding you your line.
You just wanted to see what it felt like?
Yeah, to be right. To be acknowledged as right for once. As opposed to the never-ending sea of disapproval I face elsewhere.
Right.
Yes.
Well, even here.
That's true. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So, it's finally time. It's finally time.
Season 3, Episode 1.
Of Star Trek for The Next Generation. For anybody not keeping score.
Evolution.
Evolution. So,
as some might say.
I have been waiting for Season 3 since Episode 1 of the podcast.
Yeah, I think we all kind of have been waiting for Season 3.
And I will say that it does deliver on feeling more modern than before. And obviously, there's a few reasons for that we'll get into. But I wasn't disappointed because I thought I might be. I thought in my head I was kind of building up Season 3 as being something that it wasn't. But it does feel distinct from the past two. I don't know. Maybe that's just my lizard brain. But
I think it is. I didn't like this episode very much.
Really? I mean, I'm not going to say the episode was great, but the trappings of it.
Oh, of course, the trappings. I wasn't even thinking about the trappings. Of course, the trappings were much different.
Are you a shithead?
Than the trappings of the previous two seasons.
He is a shithead. Good lord. It was different. It felt different.
Yes, it was different.
Uh-huh.
It was different. Okay, Mitch, it was different. Jeez.
No. Whatever. I just, how dare you? Really?
Well, we had new costumes, new Worf got a new haircut.
Yeah, exactly. And all of these things update the show to feel more like it's stride.
They all kind of stay that way going forward.
You know what they call these?
Trappings?
Trappings, that's exactly it. You mong.
All right, evolution. This was the second filmed episode of the season, actually.
That's right.
First aired, second filmed. The first filmed was Ensigns of Command. So look forward to that.
For the record, I am looking forward to that. I whatever my opinion on this episode, I think that one is much stronger and quite good.
Yeah, this one felt like a bit of a retread of what's that one episode where they like find a crystal or something?
Yeah, the
things living in it.
Bags of mostly water.
Yeah. It feels exactly just like that in terms of the interaction with the aliens. and then the episode can't decide if it wants to be like a mother-son drama or a child scientist messes up and has to deal with the consequences of his experiment drama.
And in the end, it becomes
ultimately
neither.
It becomes neither. Or you have obviously the older scientist on board who's trying to
groom.
Trying to well, yeah, that he's trying to complete his experiment and can't because of all the stuff that's going on, which I found to be an interesting idea for a plot point. But,
yeah, I mean, to me, that was the A plot.
Yeah,
and that was a lot more successful than anything else that was really attempted.
Yeah, and I think that really. So internally, we call this episode the M&M Show,
right?
Because it was Michael and Michael on this episode, and they always kind of brought a distinctive flair to their shows, and I think that can be attributed mostly to them, that whole plot point, and then the nanite plot point I think kind of got developed later, and so we end up with a bit of a mishmash of things.
Yeah, a real monster mash.
It was a monster mash.
Yeah. Now, not quite the graveyard smash that it could have been, given all these disparate elements of varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
But, you take what you can get.
But so we're mostly on the same page here.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of my enjoyment is more, how to put this? It's more surface level. Like, oh, it's modern. It's season 3. It's, I'm familiar with this.
You're taking refuge in Star Trek.
Yeah. It's it's the thing that I know, which is
Fair
always
enough.
good. Yeah, and the plot itself, the dialogue, the story, not that great, not bad, but I agree with you where this feels like a retreading and a less successful retreading than we've seen before. Yeah,
somehow less successful. Yeah. Needless to say, we don't have Pulaski anymore, which there's a hole in my heart.
Yeah, especially when Gates has that, like, I don't know, a dog haircut. She looks like a dog.
She does. She does. Yeah, not the most attractive appearance.
No, but I mean, you mat somebody's hair under layers of makeup for a whole year and see how they come out the other side.
Yeah, I suppose so. Who did the music for this episode? I don't even know. I really like the opening track to this episode.
That's a good question. I have no idea. Was there a change in personnel for this? I don't think there was.
I don't know.
I mean, that was always done in a separate location.
Yeah. But
so
I really like that opening track. I thought it was really good.
Yeah. I didn't note it. I'm sure if I went back to listen to it, I would agree with you, but it didn't grab me, I guess I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Fair enough.
Let's see here. If we were to start with this story, what do you think would be the most logical place to begin talking about it?
Well, first of all, I mean, we start basically we start with Wesley being woken up by Riker, right? And that's
and immediately to me, Wesley is what I would describe as uncomfortably old.
I was gonna say something similar, I think, or I felt something similar at least. Yeah, his balls dropped just a little bit more,
but he's still wearing the onesie.
Yeah, and now it feels like he's kind of aging out of this role,
right,
very rapidly. So yes, but we also learn that we have new uniforms this season.
We have new uniforms.
See Riker.
Yes, and
he's got a little popped collar.
It's very striking. The new uniforms. I first of all, I like the design of these a lot more. I don't want to
way more.
Don't want to fall victim to any kind of bias, but I think they're great.
It was a very controversial topic at the time.
Indeed, it was. what people will notice is that anybody who's not the main bridge crew, like the main cast, does not have new uniforms. They're still wearing the season 2 ones, which is, from a canon standpoint, very, very strange. But this created quite the dynamic on set, where everybody who had the new uniforms kind of got like a power kick from it. Like, oh, look at me, I have the new uniform. And they really, really looked down on people who did not, because people who did not were like extras, not important, whatever you want to say about them.
Mm-hmm.
And what really came out of this was that poor Marina, Troy rather, does not have a new wardrobe in this season, because she doesn't really wear the normal uniform, not until like season 7 anyway. And she was lumped in with that group of extras, so she just got a ton of bullying from the rest of the cast.
Yeah. Yeah, for a number of weeks.
Yeah, I don't know if you remembered, but Patrick would always kind of come by with a smirk and was like, "Oh, you're still here," every time she'd show up. And it wasn't fair. I always categorize it as unfair.
Frakes got really good at tripping her on set.
Yes. And this never, until the conclusion of the show, this never really subsided. I don't know why, but it became part of the show's culture at that point.
Well, so some of them were more mild-mannered cast backed off a little bit, but that just caused the others to double down even harder.
Yeah, once Michael put his foot down and offered her a seat at the table, the cast table as an olive branch, Frakes did not like that.
Oh man, but there's so much drama in there. You could probably write an entire documentary about just that.
Yes, and then release it on
those
Disney Plus.
Yeah. No, it would be on Peacock, Mitch.
Oh, right. What would you name that? If you had this TNG behind the scenes tell-all doc, what would you name it?
I don't fucking know, Mitch.
Damn, son. Anyway,
dressed to. I don't know. It's got to be something to do with dressing up.
That's true.
Uniforms.
All dressed up and no space to go.
That is what they say.
That is what they say.
That's what they say.
That's why it's such a clever title, you see.
Right. Yeah. It's evocative.
Yeah.
No, those costumes were like $3,000 each, I think.
That's why we didn't have one for everybody.
Right. Yeah. We couldn't afford dozens of them. So
that's why Frakes kept offering to buy Marina for about $3,000, because he's like, oh, you're not worth $3,000, so if I pay you $3,000, I can buy you.
Right.
A lot of the bullying focused on that.
Which, I mean, it's a solid line of reasoning.
Yeah, Frakes was always a good logistician in that way.
Yeah, he was a smart man.
He was. Some would say he still is, but I wouldn't say that. Where do we go from here? So there's these new.
We also there's one other thing somewhat related that's not so obvious is that Geordi and Worf are promoted to lieutenant commander and lieutenant respectively. Because they changed their shirt colors.
Pretty good.
And which if you remember, Mitch, caused a lot of confusion. There were a lot of fans who thought they were completely different characters.
Right.
Because the color combination really threw them off. But no, they were just promoted. Even in season 2, we had a lot of the higher ups. If you remember, they were kind of breathing down Rick's neck about getting these characters promoted because they were 2 African American characters and they were the lowest ranking of the bridge crew, ultimately. And we settle on a compromise of just promoting them off screen and never really mentioning it. And I think that worked out for everyone.
Yeah, I will say that the point you made is very salient about some fans just not recognizing them. There's a lot of Star Trek fans that have that condition where they don't recognize human faces so well. And the rank insignia were kind of a godsend for that group. So in a way, we were very insensitive to that percentage of the population.
Well, we weren't really sensitive to the neurodiverse community at the time.
That's true. That's true.
Not the way we are now.
Right. Nowadays, anytime you buy a Star Trek DVD set, you get the requisite weighted blanket that a lot of our fans really need to properly enjoy themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've come a long way.
We have.
But continuing on, we have our what you might call the A plot being introduced, right, on the bridge.
I think this is the A plot. The idea is that there's this big solar phenomenon that occurs every 200 years about. And of course, they don't say 200 years. They say like 179 years because 200 years. Oh, no way, it's exactly 200 years. But there's that, and there's like a scientist there whose whole life has been dedicated to studying it. I'm gonna sneeze. And running an experiment on that phenomenon. This is his only chance to do it. He's human. He's gonna die if he does not. And that's the big thrust. The inspiration for this came around because Halley's Comet was passing by around the time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It ultimately ended up being a little ironic in the sense that the episode aired just as the comet was passing, so nobody really had a chance to go see the comet. But
yeah,
I
mean, what's more impressive?
Life imitates art, I like to say.
Would you rather watch Star Trek or some dumb comet?
Yeah, I mean, you can't even really see the comet. It's like 2 seconds and it's gone.
No, our special effects you can see quite clearly.
Right. Exactly.
It's much more of a show. We have this very arrogant, I guess, character.
Is he that arrogant? At least at the start, I don't think.
I guess not at the start. Yeah, but I mean, it eventually kind of reveals itself that he's somewhat insecure because he's kind of gambled his entire life on this one thing and all that stuff. What's his name? Stubbs?
Yeah.
Dr. Stubbs. Played by the great Ken Jenkins, by the way. Great guest, wasn't he?
Oh,
He was a nice guy. He drank us all under the table that one night.
Yeah, I kept calling him Jen Kenkins. I was so drunk.
Jen Kenkins, that's right. And like a champ, like a gentleman, he never corrected you. But yeah, he always had this dream, this big dream of playing an old angry chief medical officer on like a middling NBC medical drama. He talked about it all the time, and I don't know if he ever got there, but much love to Ken. We love him here.
I hope he made his dream in the end.
I hope so too. I wish we could have gotten him back because he was a lovely person.
I thought that his character. I really don't think of his character as being having all that many negative traits, so to speak, because to me, if you're a talented scientist, wunderkind, whatever. And literally your entire life has been spent preparing for one moment, it's completely rational to kind of have an outburst of some sort when
no. His actions were completely rational, but I think the scenes with him and Wesley kind of serve to, I mean, when you're calling yourself at the age of whatever he's supposed to be, when you're calling yourself a wunderkind, unironically.
Well,
I think that kind of betrays a certain kind of insecurity.
Yeah, and a lot of that is touched upon in his scenes with Troy.
Right, which are only there so that the audience knows for sure that you're supposed to think that.
Yes.
um,
After this episode, after we wrapped on it, I just without really planning to, I kept using the phrase, turn off your beam into my soul. It came up more often than you think.
Is that from the episode?
Yeah, that's what he says to Troy. He sits down at the table and he's like, "Oh, with all due respect, counselor, turn off your beam into my soul."
I didn't notice that at all. That's so stupid. One thing I really enjoyed was his first, again, the Wunderkind thing.
Yeah.
Where he had to explain what it meant for the audience.
That's really funny when he says, "Oh, Wunderkind, it means wonder child." It's like, thanks.
He asked Wesley if he knows what it means, and it's like, well, if Wesley didn't know what that meant, I don't think he'd be the the kind of kid you'd be talking to anyway.
There's something just hilarious about praising a child for being, a Wunderkind, and then explaining really anything to him on a simple.
Yeah, on such a base linguistic level.
Right.
Although, maybe Wesley's autistic, maybe he's just really good at science and he has trouble communicating. Who knows?
There's a lot of people in this show really good at science with bad communication skills.
A lot of people who watch this show.
Heyo.
So he has like an egg. Or
he calls it an egg.
He calls it the egg.
In a truly bizarre line of dialogue. I've spent years making this egg. Now you have to lay it.
Yeah. Which what does that make him in this metaphor?
Mother Goose.
No, but the goose would lay the egg. If he's making the egg, what is he, the jizz?
The rooster, I suppose, yeah.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Now, have you ever thought about this? How roosters impregnate hens?
Have I thought about it?
Yeah, have you thought about it?
Not in detail, no. Why have you?
I've attempted to, but I just don't really know where they'd begin. Like, I don't know what the genitalia is like on a bird.
No, they have a cloaca.
What's that?
It's like a combination sex, shit, and piss hole.
Wait, isn't it pronounced cloaca?
It might be cloaca, I don't know.
Okay. Well,
I use the British pronunciation, Mitch.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google this. Cloaca. Latin for the word sewer. Kind of gross.
Or maybe they don't have sex through there. I'm not sure.
Cloaca bird. Ah, gross. All right, I've had my fill.
Hold on. When a rooster mates with a hen, he mounts her and, standing on her back, lowers his cloaca, and the hen inverts her own cloaca to meet with his. There is no penetration.
Interesting.
Ew.
This sounds a lot like my night last night.
What the hell?
I mean, do they get pleasure from this?
I wonder, because
I
can't imagine.
wonderkind.
I wonderkind. All right. Well, anyway, that's how chickens have sex.
All right.
So now that we got that out of the way, now that we fully understand this metaphor, the Enterprise is going to lay this egg into some kind of storm or whatever, right?
Right. So the storm is the bedding of the nest, or the coop, wherever chickens are, and the egg is the egg. The Enterprise is the hen, and Stubbs is the rooster with its cloaca.
And Picard is the bump on the log on the frog at the bottom of the sea.
I mean, you don't bully him because he's bald like that. So there's a lot of tension in the episode around getting this egg out there.
So I you might even say there's a tot of tension. What I don't understand, I probably missed it, or maybe they didn't explain it. What happens when the egg gets launched into the storm?
Jesus. I think it just records the phenomenon. It's a very vague experiment.
Okay.
We're doing an experiment.
They didn't have the creativity to come up with what the hell would happen.
Right. Or why it's shaped like an egg. Who knows? Fair
enough. This episode is getting better and better as we discuss it.
Hell yeah.
So meanwhile, we have the obligatory the Crusher is back on the Enterprise scene.
Yep.
Where she goes into the Readier Room and she's having trouble relating to Wesley because it's been a whole year. It's been a very long year.
Hey,
and all of a sudden she doesn't know her son anymore.
She missed 2 inches of him, okay? Calm down.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I thought was a very strange decision to mention Wesley's canonical penis size, but... I wasn't the artist in that situation.
Yeah. Well, they work in mysterious ways, and so there's this little bit of drama where she's trying to. I don't even know what she's trying to do. Like Crusher seems to be the insecure one here.
Yeah, her problem with Wesley is that he's not enjoying his childhood, adolescence enough. It's like, oh, he's got too much responsibility, and Wesley's comes when he hears this, he just says, "Yeah, I have responsibilities." And it doesn't really go anywhere.
No.
At the end, they just show Wesley with other teenagers, and it's like, okay, I have trouble buying that Wesley would be popular, but okay.
I could imagine he would be, considering he saved the Enterprise like twice.
Oh yeah. Hey, you guys remember when we all got drunk and I saved the day?
That was the end of several deleted scenes, actually. Those characters did show up.
The teens?
In this episode, yeah.
Oh. I don't remember them being on set that much.
Yeah. Well, they weren't on set that much per se, but they were around, if you know what I mean.
Added nothing to the episode.
No, all of that was dumb.
Glad we're on the same page here. Fucking dumb.
So, at the same time, now the Enterprise is... Oh, no, wait, what happens? Some accident happens and Stubbs gets, knocked over.
No, this is post-nanites, I think?
No.
No?
Well, I mean, to a degree, yeah, but not. It's before they discover the nanites.
I only remember him getting electrocuted. There was another incident?
Yeah, like the ship gets rocked. He's on the bridge.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Did we watch the same episode? Did Stubbs make 2 appearances?
I don't know. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, who gives a
shit?
No,
but because this is where we first find out that that the coffee machine in the med bay isn't working. But that's not after he gets electrocuted.
Wait, so Stubbs is the one in medical getting attended to at that time?
Yeah.
Oh, it must have been very minor then. Like I know what you're talking about. The replicators on the Fritz, and that is Crusher's introductory scene, but I just don't remember it being Stubbs whose injury instigated that.
Yeah. They accidentally run into something. Actually, this happens before pretty much anything else in the episode.
Yeah, I remember the issue they lose their propulsion and the ship starts drifting into the solar flare or whatever it is.
Yeah, like they're about to launch the egg, and then yeah, they start like drifting,
Yeah,
and then they have to kind of like re-maneuver back, and Stubbs falls over.
Okay.
Um,
well, it's easy enough to imagine that.
Yeah. So while all this is happening, like this random stuff is happening on the ship. Stuff's going wrong. Picard can't order his Earl Grey tea.
Yep. Everything's fucked up.
Lights are flickering.
They imagine that there's a Borg ship because their sensors are off.
Yeah, that's where it really starts going haywire. They see a phantom Borg ship. I'm not sure why their ship is programmed to be able to do that, but you know, maybe it's Worf again. Maybe Worf's program.
Maybe he's just playing pretend. Like it's just a coincidence that Worf's fantasy aligned with this. Now, I want to point out
a red herring.
I was watching this and I've seen this before. Not just from that earlier episode with the bags of mostly water crystals, but in season 7, there's an episode where the ship evolves to gain a kind of sentience.
Yeah.
A lot like this. Now, this one, it's these nanites that Wesley made, but in season 7, it's the ship itself. And it's crazy to me just how similar these two plot lines are. Nothing on the ship, none of the controls work. The crew can't command it, and they're in danger of the ship just inadvertently killing them. Very extremely similar plot lines in kind of a crazy way.
Yeah. So we're getting a convergence of a lot of reused stuff here.
Which doesn't bode well for anything, least of all the writer's creativity.
No, certainly not. So and I'm pretty sure this happened even in another episode too, where the ship just like isn't working right.
It's a common theme. Oh, we can't control the ship.
Yeah. Yeah, so at some point stuff starts going like really bad, right? Like they can't control anything. Stars and Stripes Forever starts playing on the bridge.
Yep,
we went way over budget on that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was worth it. It was one of the more festive moments of the show's run in its entirety.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Rick felt this scene was the key to this episode. So he personally contacted the Sousa estate and kind of negotiated this. And not a good negotiator. And
do you know that Sousa made the Sousaphone?
I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. It's a brilliant invention, Mitch.
Well, I feel kind of silly then that I told you something you already knew.
Well, maybe the ensigns didn't know that.
Ensigns, did you know that?
Why don't you explain how a sousaphone works?
Well, it's much like any... Okay, so here's the thing. You would think that it's all in the how hard you blow into it. But a more tempered breath control isn't necessary at times with items like the sousaphone. But I have a disdain for horns in a lot of their entirety. And I am somewhat triggered by needing to explain the sousaphone. I
don't like horns.
I don't like horns.
So you're not like big on the rhinoceros?
Right. Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't want to mince my words here, but you could describe that as more of a tusk. If you know what I mean.
The sousaphone or the rhino?
The rhino. Now, here's something. When you say tusk, you could also say Tuskegee, like the airmen.
Like the airmen.
Yes. And, it reminds us of a simpler time.
It certainly does.
Anyway, the Sousa estate.
Yeah, the Sousa. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Basically, yeah, we spent a ton of money on that song. We even added a line for Brent to say to identify the song to the audience, so the money wouldn't be wasted.
Right.
Because the audience wouldn't be able to pick that up themselves.
I like to imagine
a bit of a niche song.
An alternate universe of this episode where instead of Stars and Stripes Forever, the computer plays Wet Ass Pussy.
See, that would actually fit a lot better.
It's Wet Ass Pussy, Captain. A pop song from the early 21st century.
Captain, what is this pussy? And why is it so wet?
Captain,
Riker's
does
just sitting there smirking.
Does a wet ass pussy not describe an ass that is wet?
I cannot determine if the song is describing an ass or a pussy, Captain.
Ah, I see. Ass is used as a superlative in early 21st century parlance. And then Picard, knowingly nods because he's in love with the classics.
Picard starts twerking. It's a classical dance, Mr. Data. A dance move known to all men of culture, Mr. Data. Jesus Christ.
From a simpler time.
Oh. The episode wouldn't be able to continue after that.
After twerking Picard? No. That would be the apex Star Trek.
Who's the no-nonsense guy that comes in and stops it?
Oh, God.
O'Brien.
Gets a call from the Admiral.
What the hell's going on here? I'll have none of your asses. None of your wet pussies.
Oh my goodness. Picturing the Picard leading the entire bridge crew in a twerk. Oh, Nelly.
This is such a vivid image.
Well, you know us. Usually we try our best to suggest better versions of
better ways the episode could have gone.
Yeah.
The ship plays Wet Ass Pussy. They immediately become friends with the nanites.
Oh, baby. Okay. Anyway, Stars and Stripes Forever.
Yes. They figure out how to shut this down, though, somehow.
Yeah, they cut power to the bridge. That's what they do.
Oh, right. And then Picard's like,
yeah,
the bridge as it is, or something, is yours.
I think at this point, they cut to that scene of Wesley trying to find his nanites by laying mouse traps around 10 forward.
Which makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and he talks to Guinan.
Right, who's in this episode.
Yep. And I want to know who wrote this Frankenstein stuff.
Yeah, I think they wanted to use a literature reference, and that was the only book they knew.
Getting a lot of Frankenstein vibes from this. Very jarring lines.
Yes, yes, indeedy.
Very stupid lines.
I mean, I think there's a lot of stupid lines in this episode, but this is certainly one of them. Have you read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein?
I thankfully have not.
All right, well, I'll have you know that Frankenstein was the scientist.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. I don't believe you.
It's true.
No, no. Frankenstein is the big green guy
With the bolts in his neck.
with the bolts in his neck and the dumb haircut.
I don't know about that one. There's also equally stupid dialogue later on with the baseball scenes.
Yeah, the baseball scenes. Yeah. Yeah. Stubbs. Well, see, this was an effort on our writer's part to make sure the audience knew that that fun just didn't exist in the future. So, the inspiration for Stubbs here was that like he had no choice but to make up baseball games in his head.
Right,
it was the only entertainment he had.
A bleak future, to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
A lesser known reference from these scenes is that the quoted statistics are from a Negro League game, the old Negro Leagues, yeah. And I think most people wouldn't catch that, but it's our kind of throwback to a bygone era in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So if you go to, I think, what is the name of the Baseball Stats website? It might just be baseballstats.com. You can find the game he's quoting. It's pretty cool.
That's a pretty cool reference, Mitch.
Yeah. As references often are.
I like when I hear something that I'm familiar with.
Yes. And I know how familiar you are with Negro League baseball.
I do have, there's a place in my heart for Negro League baseball, that's for sure.
Yes. Yeah, we all could, it would do well to have more Negro League baseball in our lives.
It was a sad day when the Negro League was disbanded. Not just for baseball reasons.
But for Negro reasons.
Yeah. And league reasons.
Now, do their knees really grow like that?
Yeah, haven't you seen them?
No, never in person.
They're always like, yeah, they're a little weird.
I see.
But we used to listen to them on the radio, so you'd never really see them.
Right. I used to be under the impression that the Negro Leagues were just a front, because I only ever heard the radio broadcasts that it was just some white guys playing, and they wanted more market share, so they called it the Negro League.
They wanted market share.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be quite the racket. Playing an entire game of baseball with white guys pretending to be black.
You'd have to inflate some of the statistics to be sure.
Yeah.
Like there would have to be more stolen bases.
More fouls.
Yeah, more fouls. It's a different game, really. But, running a racket has never been easy. We both know that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, yeah, go on.
So, are we still talking about the Negro Leagues?
No. Thank God, no.
So I'm trying to figure out where we are here.
Evolution.
Oh, right. Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 1, Evolution.
Yes. Not Negro League baseball.
Now Wesley's running around telling everyone what's happening.
Yeah, and this is kind of out of left field, this whole My Science Nanite project thing.
Yeah.
I don't really get why this is where the episode's going, or why it went this way with so little setup. You could have,
it's stupid.
At the very beginning when Riker pages Wesley, why not have Riker show up in Wesley's room? Oh, what are you working on, Wes? And it's like, oh, it's these nanites, and they're special, whatever.
Right. Yeah. Or And then it's like, oh, the nanites escaped. How? What do you mean the nanites escaped?
They escaped and started fucking, apparently.
Yeah. And I think a lot of this can be explained by the fact that the nanite thing, as I said earlier, this was added kind of later on in the script writing.
Yeah. It feels like
our science advisor Dave is the one who came up with them because he read the original script and he thought it was ridiculous. It was originally about Wesley being the only crew member who would be able to communicate with this race of microscopic fairies who were trying to reach nirvana by frying themselves in the ship's computer, which would of course overload the ship and cause all these same kinds of problems by them just throwing themselves suicide bombing
exactly. And it's
into the mainframe.
Do we stop their culture? Do we respect it? But if we
Right.
ourselves are at risk, it's the whole thing.
Right. And I would imagine eventually they would all the crew would broker a deal where they assist with their suicide in some other way.
Right. And this plot line was later recycled in the season 7 episode where Wesley helps the crew commune with those space Indians.
Yeah. I guess, it had some time to kind of stew that idea.
Percolate.
And we reached, yeah. But yeah, so you can kind of see, the nanites escaped. Oh, the fairies escaped. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but the concept of nanites is just so abstract.
Yeah.
That it does nothing for me.
It's hard to feel the threat of them or the significance. And what's weird to me is to drive this point home, the Stubbs' reaction to this, where he's like, oh, I don't care, just fucking kill them. Or turn them off. They're robots. Whatever. Who gives a shit?
Right.
There's that. However, as like the foremost scientist, perhaps in the Federation, you would think that he would have a greater tolerance and understanding for what's going on here, which is a weird amount of tension between, okay, we're going to have the relatable audience reaction so that our crew can explain why things are what they are, why they're reacting the way they are, or we're going to have a consistently written character that makes sense. And,
I think I don't necessarily agree with you there, because I do think, as we talked about earlier, Stubbs is a guy who's spent years and years of his life focused on this one single thing that will only happen once in his lifetime and not again for another however many years.
Yeah, I still hold that opinion, but a lot of his reactions to the situation come across as just not understanding it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I suppose so, but he is also like an old dude, and nanites are.
Dude, what are you talking about? He's a wunderkind.
He is a wunderkind. I thought it was a little weird once he started talking to Wesley about the white man's burden.
Yeah, that was a strange writing decision.
Yeah, but in any case,
the white man's burden is truly to memorize all the minutiae of the Negro Leagues and preserve it for the future.
That makes too much sense, Mitch. It's getting dangerous. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think his characterization is terribly inconsistent. I think he's not a nanite. Well, but then he's like, oh, I saw where the nanites are made.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, that throws a wrench into my whole thing, because it's like, why would he be at the ground floor of where nanites are created if he didn't have an interest in nanites?
Right. I think it's a small inconsistency and not a terribly problematic one, but
well, it's not sexist, so
that's true. But I do identify it as being inconsistent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think you got a point there. But I can still see why he's upset and wants to hurry this along.
Yeah. Like his decision to attack the nanites makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And that's what ends up happening. He goes and fires radiation at them, and then is restrained by Data in a way that I can never not find funny. Like, I think it was Data and Riker, maybe Data Geordi, kind of rush Stubbs after he fires at the nanites, and they just kind of slowly rush him.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of
he just lets them do it.
There's not a lot of kineticism in the scene or the acting.
No.
It's just kind of funny.
Yeah, and then he gets electrocuted.
Right? The nanites fire back. They electrocute him, and
They strike back.
Some great physical acting on his part, where he like just splays his arms out at an odd angle. I'm electrocuted.
That is what happens when you get electrocuted.
Yeah, but you don't want to show that. I want to see like him vibrating, like, you know, like very comically.
He should have shit himself.
He collapses into that security officer's arms, and he's like, "It smells like shit."
What the hell?
Would have been a funnier moment, to be sure. Now, the resolution of all this, where they use Data as a conduit to commune with the nanites, I thought was pretty silly.
I mean, how else were they going? Like, that's why they have Data around as a character.
I would think that when they were communicating in binary, like, that would have been enough.
Yeah, probably. I mean, all this episode really needed at its conclusion was the nanites as Data walking up to Wesley and calling him like father. Which I'm surprised. It's so on the nose. I'm surprised it didn't happen.
That's true. A scene of Wesley like in his room. Picard comes to counsel him, and Wesley's like, I don't know how to deal with becoming a god to these people. And then Picard's like, well, Wesley, in every man's life he becomes god to something. And the key is not what you made, but how you treat it. Or some other bullshit advice.
Wesley, have you ever heard the song Wet Ass Pussy? Computer. And they eventually do complete the experiment, right?
Yeah, they just do it. You know, it's just kind of done without much fanfare.
Yeah, so
they poop out that egg.
They lay the egg. The cloacas have been merged.
Indeed, they have, and everyone's better off for it.
Yeah, everything just gets resolved with no. Like once it is resolved, you realize how low the stakes were.
Right. They have the conversation with Data as the nanites. Then, within the span of like 20 seconds, the experiment is carried out, and the Doctor's happy, and that's it. The vagueness of the experiment really comes back and shows itself because there's nothing really to show. It's just it happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it was just boring.
Very boring. Very boring. And then
like I'm bored just talking about it.
Oh yeah, this is the most boring episode of the Readier Room we've ever done. And then there's like 3 minutes of resolution of the Dr. Crusher is worried about Wesley subplot.
Oh yeah, she's sitting at the bar, and we have a quote funny scene.
Yeah. I don't really understand Guinan's role here, or really anybody's. Like, sure, Guinan.
Crusher just needed another woman to talk to.
Right. Guinan's like, oh, in a race of listeners? What does that mean? What are you saying about black people?
Because it's not accurate. How many husbands did Guinan have?
Yeah, it's very strange. A lot of husbands, a lot of children.
So I'm really, at this point, I'm really confused as to what Guinan is. because Q is scared of her. She's had 15 husbands, but she acts like a human being.
Right. And this is never elaborated upon.
And we all know anyone who gets divorced is less than human.
This is true.
Inshallah.
You would never stop saying inshallah on set. It was miserable. I was embarrassed for you.
We had our prayer rugs, and
I know, but inshallah is not strictly a part of that.
Sure.
Look,
it's a nice word.
Just rein it in sometimes.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
That was we now when Darmok rolled around, we did make that joke a lot on set. Yeah.
It's always about Darmok with you.
It was a good time.
You're not going to be able to contain yourself once we get to Darmok.
Oh, that's going to be the week that I'm sick and have to take the show off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's going to be...
You know, you never get a day off, Mitch.
I know you see to that.
Mm-hmm.
My keeper over here.
Oh, I never let you rest.
No, I want to rest.
I'm tired. No, not tonight. No.
I don't want to be readier.
You're gonna be readier. You're gonna like it.
Today you can be readier, just once. So this is Readier Assault.
We need to continue talking about this scene though, because Wesley walks in with what appears to be a girl who is interested in him.
An attractive girl. Once again, explicitly stated, because I don't think they trusted again the audience to ascertain whether or not this young teen pussy was hot or not.
Right.
So Crusher says, "Oh, it's an attractive girl that he's with," and then I guess she wants to date her too because she's like, "Oh, tell me everything you know about her."
All right. Yeah. Here, let me read you her Memory Alpha article.
Crushers? That's gonna take some time.
No. The girl that was with Wesley.
Oh, start with her name.
Annette.
Okay.
Annette was a young female civilian aboard the USS Enterprise D in 2366. She was a friend of Wesley Crusher, and part of a group of young people observed by Beverly Crusher in Kent Forward, shortly after her return to the Enterprise D. Annette seemed somewhat attracted to Wesley, driving Beverly to ask Guinan for information about the girl. Background information. Annette was played by actress Amy O'Neill, who received no credit for her appearance. Their name originated from a scripted source. Her character originally had several lines of dialogue with Wesley and another Enterprise D youth, Eric, but the scene was cut for time. Annette and Eric wanted Wesley to join them on a holodeck ski trip, which always seems to be what the kids do on the holodeck. But he was too busy to work. He was too busy with work to join them. Later, Annette was injured when the nanites caused the holodeck to malfunction.
Oh my God!
There you go. You can see where that plot would run.
I can't believe we were deprived of something so great like this.
I know. It's a damn shame.
It's a goddamn shame. Well. Oh well.
Yep.
That's the episode. I mean, I think we are in agreement that it's not that great.
It's not.
If you had taken this and placed it in the middle of season 3, where I'm once again accustomed to the more contemporary look of the show, then I wouldn't have very many positive things to say about it. So in that respect, I don't want to praise it, but I am happy to be in season 3.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I'm happy to be here too. I'd rather never watch this episode again, though.
Yeah, there's not anything really to get from it.
No outstanding performances. No interesting plot.
No twerking.
Nothing even. I can't get it out of my head. Just that image. But yeah, there's nothing even funny about it.
No, there's not. At all, really. It's not like a terrible offensive episode. It's just kind of boring, you know? It's got nothing going for it explicitly. Maybe it doesn't have so much detracting, but it's got no positives.
Right. So yeah, that's it, huh?
Which, to be fair, is a step above kind of what the dregs of seasons 1 and 2 were.
Sort of. I mean, it's definitely not Skin of Evil.
This is true. But what is?
I can't believe they had the balls to show a clip of that in the clip show season 2.
Yeah. Hey, how about this Skin of Evolution?
Ooh.
That's it.
You writing that down?
I typed it down.
Typed it down. Dicked it down.
I did not dick it down.
As the kids say.
Is that what the kids say?
The kids do say it.
Like, I'm gonna dick you. Like, is that a greeting or a farewell? Like, dick you down.
No, it's like looking someone up and down.
Oh, so just can women dick men up and down, or is it a one way?
No, usually it's one way. I heard my daughter say it to her boyfriend the other day.
Like, what did she say?
She was like, why don't you come over here and dick me down?
Oh, so did you three have dinner together?
Yeah, and I asked her what it meant, and she told me.
Oh, okay. That's good. It's good to get it straight from the horse's mouth.
Right.
Not that, your daughter looks like a horse, but, well, I mean...
But she sounds like one.
Right. All the neighing she does.
All the neighing.
See, that's... The kids, maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, they had this song about being... pretending to be a horse. Right. They kept saying, "Watch me, nay, nay."
Yeah, they did. It's a very special episode. All right. Can I go to my trivia for you?
Yes, please.
Oh. So we got a lot of changes this episode, this season. Right? That
changes.
Stick with the show.
Yes.
Stick with the show for a long time. We got the costume changes. We have Crusher coming back. There's something we didn't mention though.
What's that?
That was changed. Well, that's the question. that was changed starting this season and stays that way through the rest of the show.
Okay.
And it's a repeated thing.
Okay.
Every episode.
Is it the intro?
It's the intro.
Yes.
It's the intro.
Yeah, I've been skipping it, so I was very unsure.
I thought I would get you on that because I know you skip it.
Yeah. Damn, too good. I'm too good.
Good job.
What's different about it?
It's completely different. Like the old one showed like planets and stuff. This new one is just like some like nebulous blue cloud or something.
Okay. Is it still not somewhat transparent portraits of the main cast transposed on top of planets?
It's definitely not that.
Okay. That's what I would do for the intro. It's like, the camera swooshes by Saturn and there's Patrick in front of it with his arms folded.
I would do like complete silhouettes of the cast and then put their faces like in the crotch area.
Now, is this in space?
Yeah, like you're saying, you show the planet, silhouette on top, and then their face like on the crotch area.
Okay, I'm into it. Do you think that sets the tone appropriately for what's about to transpire?
Yeah, I think so.
Perfect.
I think so. Especially with Wesley's 2 inches.
Right. The 2 inches that Dr. Crusher canonically missed. God, I really miss his 2 inches, she said. I guess that's, do you think that Wesley ever dicked her down? Just kind of like look her to and fro?
Yeah, no, I can imagine he's dicked her down quite a few times.
Right. You know, I think that there's got to be Wesley Crusher dicking down Dr. Crusher fan fiction out there.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah. Why don't we prepare some for next time?
Yeah, there we go. We'll look it up.
I'll look that up on my own time.
I'll leave you be. Let me know what you find, and
yeah,
you know, record your research session.
Okay.
Well, I think that's going to bring us to the end of another magical episode of the Readier Room. I regret to inform those at home that we have cut some of our ties with our sponsors so far, but what that means is there's space in our hearts for a new sponsor out there. If you would like to be in contact, send all business inquiries to the Readier Room business at yahoo.com, and we'll be in touch. But with that out of the way, that'll be it for us today. Join us next time where we cover another magical episode of Season 3, have an even more magical episode of the Readier Room Season 3. And until then, I implore you and yours to have a very Merry Christmas, and please, stay readier.
The troublesome little man-child.
I stand before you defrocked, condemned to be a member of this lowest of species.
Thank you, Ensign. Engage.
Do you consider yourself superior to us?
Should have told him to mind his own damn business.
But I stroked the beard thusly. Do I not appear more intellectual?
Computer, freeze program.
Have you never dreamed of climbing inside the bottle?